Doctor in the TARDIS. Next stop everywhere.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Charles Skaggs, back in the TARDIS, still trying to avoid 2020 as much as possible. Shame on you, 2020. Shame, shame. And fortunately, though, to help entertain you guys out there, I'm joined once again by my wonderful co-host and partner in time, and just all-around neato person, Jesse Jackson. How you doing, Jesse?
I am good, Charles. I hope everything's good up in Ohio and Texas. It's hot, and we're still seeing spikes in cases. It still remains a scary time, but we have the Doctor and a special guest companion to help calm our fears tonight.
Exactly. So we're going to be changing things up a little bit today. So joining us for this very special episode because, hey, we're celebrating the 6th anniversary of Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. So what better way to do that than joined by, once again, by one of our favorite special guest companions, Hannah Skorapa. Welcome back to Next Stop Everywhere. Yay!
Yay!
And there was much rejoicing. Hooray!
Thank you for having me back again, Charles. Happy to be here to commemorate the big
The big
06,
six,
I guess.
the big six, yeah, the big 06.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so we decided to celebrate our 6th anniversary of Next Stop Everywhere by completely throwing out our format that we've done for the past 6 years, and only temporarily, but we're going to change things up a little bit. We're doing something that a lot of people have been wanting us to do for quite a while, something that Zan Sprouse and I have been doing on Ghostwood, as we've been doing Twin Peaks commentaries over there. So I thought, well, hey, let's give this a go over here because it's been a long time since we've talked some Peter Capaldi. And his Doctor, the 12th Doctor, just happened to come up. So for episode 194, we're going to be doing a new thing, which I call Revisited, as we're going to discuss the pilot. And this, of course, was the first episode from Series 10 back in 2017. So this is about 3 years ago that we talked about this episode. We actually did our full review, if you remember, Jesse. We did that back in April of 2017 in episode 78. So,
Yes.
So here we are, 116 episodes later, and now we're going to do a commentary for it, and I hope everybody enjoys this.
Yeah, we're we went through the first Doctor. We're going all the way to the 12th, and so yeah, we were like, well, we could just do another episode, but we've already talked about the episodes,
Right.
All the 12th Doctor. So I thought this was a brilliant idea for you to come up with, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. So Hannah, hope you're looking forward to this. Thank you so much for being a part of this. What was it that was it that we were doing a commentary episode, or was it just that you were in the mood to talk some Peter Capaldi, or is this episode a particular favorite of yours?
It's actually kind of a bit of all those. I'd never done a commentary before, and this is also one of my favorites with regard to Capaldi's Doctor. I mean, I wasn't the biggest Clara fan. Sorry, Clara fans out there.
That's okay.
And I She was just the
Jenna Coleman will hunt you down
Yep.
and kill you, but that's okay. No big deal.
I mean, nothing against Jenna Coleman. It's just she was the companion for like a very, very long time, and
Yes.
I
But
love Bill,
one season
so
too long, in my opinion.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
Charles,
you like Bill, and this is obviously Pearl Mackie's first episode as Bill, so it's a fun one to talk about, I thought.
yes, and also if the show
Yeah.
is a person in its own right, then Capaldi would be Next Stop Everywhere's Doctor, because it was the first Doctor
Yes.
we embraced together.
Pretty much.
So in that spirit, the show's Doctor
Is
would be Capaldi. Now,
exactly.
Bennett is mine, yours is Davison, but the show, if you go with the spirit of your first Doctor is always your Doctor.
Right. You never forget your first Doctor.
Right. And it's hard to remember, but way back when we started this, right? We had no idea what was going to come on with Peter, and we discussed it, and we've been on the journey from him from the beginning.
Yeah, as Hannah and I are dueling our Capaldi, our 12th
Yes.
Doctor
Yours
action
has the
figures.
right hair length. I'm jealous.
Yes.
Yes.
I actually went to the trouble of, it was one of those that I got from the Christmas, or no, it was the 12th Doctor, or excuse me, 11th Doctor Regeneration set. So I swapped the head.
Oh, nice.
So I could get the proper hair length because I like Capaldi with bigger hair. So that's what I went with my hair.
Yeah. The thing is, for a while I saw that there was a 12th Doctor Bill and Missy set out there, and I can't find. Oh,
Yes.
I say as he holds up Bill.
Yes, I got this. I also got my Bill action figure.
Yay.
So I didn't break out Missy because Missy's not in this episode.
Well,
No.
I mean, we see the entrance to her room, though, if that counts.
This is true. Yeah. So this is something we're going to obviously talk about as we do. Whoop, there he goes. During our commentary. Capaldi just jumped to try to commit suicide apparently. So what we do is we're going to go through the episode and just like any kind of normal DVD style commentary where people that are doing the voiceovers are pointing out interesting things or something humorous or whatever anecdote. And if you've heard Zan and I, usually whatever just pops into our brains, our twisted little brains at the time as we're watching something. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope everybody enjoys it. So this episode, of course, written by Stephen Moffat, directed by Lawrence Gough, or Go, Gough, starring, of course, Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor, introducing Pearl Mackie as Bill Potts, and now officially in the companion, Matt Lucas as Nardole, or as Capaldi likes to pronounce it, Nardole. Nardole. You gotta throw a little Scottish in there too. Nardole. Now Sylvester McCoy would just roll those R's like there'd be no tomorrow. He'd be go like Nardole. I can't even do that properly, but
I listened to an interview with Sophie Aldred. She was talking a bit about doing audiobooks where she read for the 7th Doctor, and she said Sylvester McCoy's accent was one of the hardest to do because not only was he Scottish, but he didn't talk quite normally like a regular Scotsman because he was brought up by an Irish granny.
As a fan of Sylvester's era from the 80s, he really loves to roll those R's, just theatrically. He just exaggeration, a complete exaggeration, and it's a lot of fun. And so cast this time, there's not a lot of guest cast in this one. We have Stephanie Hyam as Heather, and she makes a return in The Doctor Falls, the series 10 finale. And also we get, she also was in the Sherlock episode, The Abominable Bride, as Jane, if you're familiar with that one. That's one of my favorites because that's where they actually did proper Sherlock set in the Victorian era, which I loved. We also had Jennifer Hennessy as Moira, and she plays Bill's foster mom, and she also returns later in the season in the episode Extremis. And but if you're a fan from the Tennant era, you know her primarily as Valerie Brannigan, the wife of that old cat Brannigan in Gridlock. So I'm still trying to figure out how she gave birth to all those kittens, but gosh darn it, weren't they just cute as all get out.
Don't suppose Moira is her ancestor.
And you never know, especially with Doctor Who, because I'm sure that's how Stephen Moffat would explain it. Oh yeah, it's just an ancestor, or RTD would do that. And then of course,
Facial genetic multiplicity.
exactly, and something timey-wimey. And of course, we have Nicholas Briggs as the voice of the Daleks in this one, who make a little bit of a cameo appearance. They're not exactly the featured monster, but they turn up in a very fun little sequence. And one of them gets their butts handed to them by Heather. So that was fun, right? All right. I'm going to save our trivia because normally I do like trivia and stuff. The only thing I want to mention before we get started is this episode was originally titled A Star in Her Eye for obvious reasons because of Heather. But then later, Moffat thought, well, hey, this episode's kind of like a reboot. So why don't we just call it the pilot? And it kind of stuck, apparently. So because it was kind of like a relaunch of the a reboot of his era of Doctor Who. So anything anybody wants to add? Any general thoughts about this story you want to talk about? Jesse, any do you remember when we discussed this earlier? Way back when. I know it's like 3 years ago. It's asking a lot, but was there anything that you remember fondly about this episode before we get started?
We always love talking, Peter, because as I just said, it was the show's first Doctor, and you're always excited when a new season starts. So I remember being excited about it. A lot of questions from this that I am going to bring up while we discuss. Once again, Doctor Who playing timey-wimey with time and what's going on. So I want to bring up that and get your and Hannah's thoughts. But no, I'm excited to talk about the episode.
Okay. And Hannah, any thoughts you'd like to share before we get started?
I mean, I wish I could have gone back in time and shown this episode to my younger self at the time when I initially walked away from Who. I mean, that's kind of one of my greatest regrets of not seeing basically most of Peter's run live.
Yeah.
I mean,
did you come to appreciate it after the fact?
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing previews of this and just because I was subscribed to the official Doctor Who YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At the time, and I wasn't thinking much of it, but I just want to go back and scream in my younger self's face and just say, no, this is good. Watch it. Please watch it.
So you need a TARDIS to go back in time so you can yell at your younger self and go, what are you thinking? Yeah, I trust me, I think about that kind of stuff all the time, especially at my age. You think, oh, if only I had a TARDIS to go back and smack myself upside the head when I was younger.
And the worst part is I had access to BBC America.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the worst.
I did one little thing I did just to kind of catch up. I've shared with you that one of my coworkers, John, is going through Doctor Who for the first time, and he's gotten through. I asked him, "How are you doing, John?" "I just went to the Olympics." I said, "Oh, okay. So you're at that point in the Tennant era." And then we have a new employee that we just brought back, and Michael is his name. He saw my TARDIS cookie jar and said, "Hey, I'm just getting to Capaldi, and I'm really liking the Scottish Doctor. So it's been kind of nice. I have two people at different phases of rewatching that kind of give me updates once or twice a week, like, "Hey, Jesse, I just saw this or that."
So now
it's been
you're
kind of fun.
so now your office is treating you as the Doctor Who guy that
Yes.
anything happens with Doctor Who, they have to share it with you.
Yes, and I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
am okay with that at all, right?
See, with my office, it was always like, well, Charles is the guy who watches all the sci-fi movies and superhero
Right.
movies, and so anytime we go out and see those, we're going to talk to him and
Yeah.
and tell him what we think. And Charles is like, I just want to work, but leave me alone. No, just
I
but
mean,
anyway.
at the school I go to, Who is not as prominent a thing, but through, I guess, pop culture osmosis, a lot of people know of it. Like, I have one close friend, and she told me, "Oh, I saw the episode, the one with the space highway and the cat people." And I was like, "Oh, you mean Gridlock?" She said, "Yeah."
I like that, the space highway.
That's all right, because obviously a lot of people aren't as into it like we are here, because we're devoted Whovians, and I'm kind of jealous of you because when I was in high school way back when we had like rocks and sticks and before electricity, hardly anybody knew about Doctor Who, because it was just on. It was it was one of those shows that it was on PBS, and hardly anybody watched PBS.
Right.
And so not a lot of people knew about it. And so anytime you met a fellow Doctor Who fan or knew somebody that knew Doctor Who, it was like, coming across an oasis in the desert. Like, I can't believe I found you. I'm saved. Thank you. I get to talk about Doctor Who.
I mean, I think a lot of people in my generation got into Doctor Who because way back in the days of yore, before everybody had a streaming service, it was on Netflix right through the end of the Matt Smith era. So, and that was around the time they were pushing the show pretty heavily here in America.
Right.
So a lot of my friends found it that way, and there weren't comparatively a lot in where I grew up, but
This makes me smile so much. And I feel like the ancient old man, right? Because when I was in high school, you were amazed when you found anyone who liked Star Trek, like this is 72, 73, much less someone who read comics, and I remember thinking when I was like in junior high or high school, how I wish I could be rich so that I could buy a movie projector and have the films of all the original episodes, because how great would that be that at any time you would bring out the projector and be able to watch an episode, anytime you want, and you would have to be rich to be able to do that, right? And
obviously that was like decades before VHS or no. Yeah, so
yeah, because 72, 73, there's no thought of that. And then when you now think of the beauty of there is almost anything you want to watch.
4K television, yeah.
Yeah, you just
Ultra
go and
high
watch
def.
it. So so all right.
And
so now that we've all established that
yes,
Hannah is a baby.
No.
I am an old man.
No, she's not a baby. She's a young woman and a new generation of Doctor Who fans.
Which is awesome.
And
we are loved that you are here.
Exactly. So you don't need to dismiss her generation. She's young and enthusiastic, and that's awesome. So
not a dismissive at all.
All right. So everybody, you ready to talk some Capaldi? Because I know I am. All right. So let me get my secondary earphones in here. All right. So I can sort of hear the audio. Hopefully it won't bleed through. All right. And if everybody, for everybody playing the home game, we are going to make sure you got if you want to watch along with us, make sure you have your video queued up and ready to go.
Before we go on, may I survey how is everybody else watching this?
Well, I am watching via iPad.
On
So
iTunes, I'm assuming?
yeah, so I have via Amazon video on demand. So I have Skype on half my screen. And then I've got the show on the other, and I may end up having to not see you guys in Skype so I can see the screen big enough.
That's all right. That's all right. I wouldn't want to look at me either, so I can totally get that.
And I have mine.
After
put
6
up
years,
on-
I still like looking at you. I'm
So
sorry.
I just happen to have the iTunes, have it on iTunes this episode. So so that worked out really well for me. But so if everybody's ready, get your fingers all worked up there. Get that index finger all limbered up, and we will start as we count down in 3, 2, 1. Doink.
Matchstick logo.
Yes.
The asterisk in her eye.
Yes. And we immediately get a great scene of an office, right? And you're going, wow, this looks different.
And here's Pearl Mackie's Bill, new companion.
And
Yes.
Nardole with his rebuilt body. Ooh.
Yeah, he's a little. I mean, he's got some parts left over there. I don't know what's going on there. I'll just sweep that under the table there. No big deal.
Notice the wooden raven on his desk next to the sonic screwdrivers.
There are so many Easter eggs in this scene.
Yes. There's the TARDIS. There's the TARDIS.
And that out of order
Of
sign,
order.
that was taken from the War Machines.
And then, of course, all the sonic screwdrivers.
There's
And
the
there's
post-
Susan and
River.
Yes.
Yeah, I've kind of got like a jar of those screwdrivers on my own desk.
I have those too.
Lots of Easter eggs. So many Easter eggs.
Yeah.
There.
Yes.
There we
guitar
have
riff.
the guitar riff from Before the Flood.
Yeah. Now, what
And
is in
that was
the
actually
jar?
Peter Capaldi playing that, by the way.
Yeah, what's in the jar that looks like the gold things?
I think those might be a candy of some kind. Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, wait, never mind. I was wrong about that. That's not what that is.
I wasn't quite sure what that one is either, so no worries.
Got a great chess set and a globe, so I always want a chess set in my office. I just think that is a classy look.
Well, and you never know when you have to play Fenric, I guess,
Yeah.
for chess in the Curse of Fenric, but always good to have a chessboard.
So now I am frustrated. I did not watch this beforehand
Yeah.
because I've got it on mute, so I can read the clap. And
You're
now
doing
I'm
the
like,
reading the
I want
subtitles.
I need to see this again. Yeah, I'm doing subtitles. Yeah.
I love how lived in this office feels. You can really get the sense he has been here for decades.
Yes.
Well, as we find out in the story, he's been there for 50 years or so. Now I wonder why nobody notices, hey, okay, why doesn't he age?
And I also I can't remember. Do we ever get an explanation? Is this just he just felt like not traveling for a while?
He was guarding Missy in the vault,
That
and he
seems
kind
kind
of took
dumb.
an oath.
And
Yeah.
remember, this is him coming off of losing Clara,
Okay.
so he's a little probably still recovering from that as well,
Don't forget, he also said goodbye to River.
right?
That's true. Yes, and they spent that time. So maybe he got used to being at one time because he spent all that time with River. One thing I did think about is Capaldi did not have a very good success rate with his companions, did he?
Not really. I mean, you figure poor Bill gets she gets converted into a Cyberman by the Master,
Right.
and then eventually becomes a being like Heather, and they end up traveling, as we find
Right.
out. Clara ends up traveling with a Shilder
Right.
in
Even though
getting
she's
her
really
own
dead,
TARDIS.
yeah, but this is that time between that last minute of life.
Yeah.
But yes, so they both end up traveling.
Yet, though, I mean, in the Doctor's defense with Clara, she did bring her death upon herself, and he didn't know until it was too late, and she didn't know.
Yeah.
So,
And then Nardole, doesn't he get left behind with the Mondasians?
yeah, I read the Paul Cornell adaptation of Twice Upon a Time, and according to the testimony of Nardole, he says he lasted for about 600 years before he finally broke and kicked the bucket. So
Okay.
People just call you the Doctor. What do I call you? The Doctor? Doctor what? No, that's a different show.
perfectly timed.
Credits.
Yeah, that was yes,
Diddly
very
dum,
good
diddly
credits.
dum, diddly dum, diddly dum, diddly dum, diddly dum,
Can
diddly
I just say something that
dum.
kind of irked me a bit?
Yes.
So the 12th Doctor regenerates and goes on to being the 13th Doctor, but never bothers to write a letter of resignation to this university. What
Yeah, I
about
know.
all those students, like halfway through the term, wondering why their prof isn't showing up?
Well, maybe all their test papers were on psychic paper. Who knows?
Yes.
Given he's not teaching anything like super valuable apart from like cool stuff,
Right.
I'm assuming that maybe he was just really cozy with the alumni association.
Now I
Yeah.
can't blame I can't blame Bill for sitting in here because
Yeah.
how cool would it be to have the Doctor lecturing?
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, those look like some fantastic chips.
They do.
I want some
They're
too.
like, now I want chips.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and preferably served by Bill instead of Rose Tyler. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We know how those chips that Rose Tyler served turned out, right?
Exactly.
But those chips make you smart.
Yeah, but they got like alien goo in them.
Hmm.
There are no side effects on the kids, though that seem negative. I'm sure it's fine.
Now, why is I'm asking the big questions as
Yeah.
the doctor is what he mentioned something about her being in the lectures. What do you think made him pick her?
Well, I
Hey,
mean, he did
Mrs. Brannigan.
say that when people get asked hard questions that they can't quite figure out, they frown, but she smiles. I suppose it's kind of, she reminds him of past companions with sort of that eagerness to go into danger and solve the big problems and all that.
I think it was also that she wasn't signed up for that class.
Right.
She was the dinner lady, and he liked the fact that she just, even though she didn't have to be there, she wanted to be there.
Another thing as I'm watching this,
So in this scene, I'm sorry to interrupt, but they're playing.
Please.
They're playing "Love Will Tear Us Apart" by Joy Division, which last appeared on Doctor Who in the story that we were just talking here a few moments ago, School Reunion.
Oh, nice.
So Joy Division gets like twice the Doctor Who love.
Oh, good.
In the modern era. So I thought that was cool.
It's like that one Christmas tune that keeps popping up in the specials. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I know. I keep forgetting that one, but yeah, I know what the one you're talking about.
I just want to say
that was turned up a few times
on
as
a
well.
completely frivolous note, I love all of Bill's outfits in this episode.
Yeah,
that jacket is so nice.
That's what I was going to bring up. As we just went through, we've gone through all the doctors in the past, 10, 12 weeks or so. I do like that the modern era seems to be a little better at giving more practical clothes than in the classic era. And I love
Much
that.
better for running. Yeah.
Yeah, and just the Doctor looks cool, and I do love how Capaldi kind of plays him as an aging rock star, and that's just really what I love about him.
Well, that was something we talked about as far back as when we were talking Series 9.
Yeah.
That in that gap between Series 8 and Series 9, Capaldi had figured out his Doctor, along with Stephen
Yes.
Moffat, and they came up with the whole aging rock star persona, and I think it suits him so well, especially since Capaldi plays and is a musician himself.
Yes.
So it works perfectly.
And
Giving him the guitar as his kind of
Yes.
signature prop, I guess.
And as much as you saw, like Tennant wanted to go see Elvis, Capaldi would be who I'd want to companion with to go see old rock shows that we're going to talk about in a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
You just would, that this Doctor would be a joy to be at a concert with.
I wonder what's in the vault.
Yeah.
What's in the vault?
No.
What's in the vault?
Bill's having none of it.
And now I want to watch 7 for some reason.
Yeah. I really like this actress who plays
Heather?
Yeah, Heather. Yeah,
Stephanie
like
Hyam. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like her.
She's got a really interesting look.
Yeah, she does.
And she actually had some really good chemistry with Bill, I thought.
I do too. Do you guys?
I totally buy their romance.
Yeah, I did buy their romance too. And do you feel? I mean, I remember that you and I were not fazed at all, Charles, about having a companion, that was a different lifestyle, a gay, that didn't bother us
You mean a lesbian?
at all,
Lesbian, yeah.
A lesbian, yes.
Well, there's no reason why you should.
No, but I know that there is, anytime a show pushes the envelope, there is always a certain amount of people that are unhappy with that. So.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, that's with Doctor Who fans. They always find something to be unhappy about, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That is a true statement, yes.
And it's not just Doctor Who fans, I should say.
No.
I mean, my brain just kind of flashes forward to the previous season and the Mary Shelley episode where Yaz hints she might have feelings for the Doctor, and I'm just remembering the outrage about that.
Right.
Yet people were all cool with Rose cozying up to the 10th Doctor.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I know. As long as the affection is by different sexes, then suddenly it's okay. But if it happens to be the same sex, it's not okay. That's not cool. So.
And you were talking about it, clothes. I love her scarf.
Yeah.
Heather's scarf. That I just think that is great.
Also, her hoop earrings are good.
Yeah.
Creepy puddles.
Yeah.
Creepy puddles.
Okay, I admit I've played around before with like my webcam on a meeting, and I've done the effect where you're not looking at your reflection. And they are right, it is weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes when you take a picture and if you reverse the image, so that it looks like how other people see you, it is a little unsettling. You're like, something doesn't look quite right because you're so used to looking yourself in the mirror.
Absolutely.
And that's this just one of those things that most people wouldn't think about, but Moffat says, I'm going to make a Doctor Who episode about that.
Absolutely.
I love that Bill gives him a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't get you anything. So anyway, so let's just break out pop the Christmas cracker and put on the party hats. And we won't quite reveal what the Doctor got her for Christmas after that. I'm sure he's like, crap, I got to go do something now. So he hops in the TARDIS when she's not there.
He'll just order it from Kerblam.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And well, at least don't pop the bubble wrap when it arrives. That would be bad.
Do either one of you know where the because I do not know the tradition of wearing paper crowns on Christmas comes from. I assume that's a UK thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know nothing about it except through Doctor Who.
I don't either. I do remember, though, for one, long before I watched Doctor Who, one year at Christmas, my family just randomly had some, though we didn't do the pulling them apart.
Yeah, it's just, and I think it's just, it's a tradition where they're called crackers, and you
Yeah.
pop them open, and then um, they pop.
Yeah.
So here we go. Bill has suddenly was told that she didn't have any photos of her mom, and then all of a sudden, her foster mom finds a box of photos of her mom.
I think this just goes to show how far this doctor has come, because they say explicitly that Bill's mother didn't like her having her photos taken, so this implies that the 12th Doctor popped back in time, formed a relationship with Bill's mother, just so that way he could get her
Oh,
these photos.
There he is in the mirror. What the?
Yeah. Really nice.
Yeah. So I think that was a very cool gift by the Doctor, and like I agree with you, Hannah. It shows how far he's come. Because I don't. It's hard to imagine some of his other incarnations, especially like say the Ninth Doctor, doing something like that.
Also, I know we're moving on, but
Yeah.
I did love that Summer of '78 T-shirt. It looked like a camp shirt.
Right.
It was really cool.
Well, on the subject of Bill's T-shirts,
Hmm.
this one here that she's sporting right now
Yeah.
is actually based on the inner sleeve artwork for Prince's Purple Rain album from 1984.
Nice.
So, and it wasn't long after, unfortunately, that we lost Prince. So people had wondered if that was kind of a tribute after this was
Oh,
filmed,
yeah, could
but
be.
it was unintentional. Apparently.
Okay.
I keep wondering why Heather kept coming back to this puddle. Do you think it was I mean, I know it's obviously not her reflection, so she's intrigued by that, but do you don't suppose it was like programming her brain on a subconscious level?
Well, I think
So,
it's kind of where she originated because they talked about that it was leaked engine oil. So it's like, she's in the puddle.
Yes.
So, it was, where the spaceship had landed there, that's where the oil came out. So I'm thinking that's where she feels like she originated from, I guess. I don't know. It's not really explained, so.
And that's
Bill talking
I
about her
think
face.
yeah, then him running away is just really funny.
one.
Right. I was like, how do you get there so fast? It's like the chair is spinning around. He
Yeah.
just went like, Phew! The Doctor like reaches out into the Speed Force and takes off. It's like, are you kidding me with all this running? Geez, I'm out of breath.
Just
Yes.
noticing his theme playing here.
Right.
Hmm.
I really love that 12th Doctor theme, by the way. It's like, things just got serious for the 12th Doctor. Dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun dun.
Sounds a bit like an oncoming avalanche to me.
I love that line. Do you know any sci-fi?
His look is like, seriously?
It's like kind of like, in the Twice Upon a Time where it was him and the first Doctor going, are you trying to be funny?
Yeah.
Netflix reference.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's hope that ages well. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean,
Creepy
they have Stranger
puddle.
Things. They'll be fine.
And you can
Yeah.
write, even
Yeah.
by this point, you can really see the chemistry between Capaldi and Pearl
Yeah.
Mackie.
Oh, it's a real shame she only got this one season.
Yeah.
She should have gotten at least another year.
You know,
But
if she just waited about 2 more minutes at the end of The Doctor Falls, she could have met the 13th Doctor. I'm just
right?
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she kind of took off a little early on that one. Reflection.
Yeah.
Hold on. Light bulb.
He just happened to have a test tube, right?
It's the Doctor. He's got everything in his pockets.
There you go. Good
In
point,
his
Charles.
coat pockets. His pockets of unnatural holding.
Yes.
There's probably a yo-yo somewhere in there.
Yeah, there's all kinds of. I mean, you got your Sonic, you got your psychic paper, you got probably a basketball, you probably got like a uh, big antimatter device, or
A few Jelly Bellies, a recorder.
jelly babies, yeah,
Yeah, Jelly Babies. Yes.
recorders, yeah, everything.
Yes.
Probably Bessie's in there somewhere.
And this is a cool angle, right? From this
From
is the
underneath,
second
yeah.
or third time. Yeah. Absolutely.
There it goes.
Creepy puddle.
Uh, I have a paranoia of coming home alone sometimes, and
Yeah.
seems like this just feed that.
This is why you always turn on the light switch when you walk into the apartment, right?
Yeah,
It's like, why is she leaving the lights off?
and weird cultural thing, but they have their washing machine in their kitchen.
Yeah, because they're so pressed for space. Some of these are so older. They're older flats that
Mhm.
were, built before without that kind of hookup. So they had to probably hook up the washing machine where the water is next to the sink.
Yeah.
Okay, how is Moira not freaking out? I mean, I know her relationship with Bill isn't that great, but I'd be flipping out if somebody told me, "Oh, there's someone in the house that's
Yeah.
supposed to be with you."
Well, here's what I'm wondering: isn't Bill over 18 by this point? Why does she need a foster parent? Right?
Maybe she's still
She's-
trying to figure things
Yeah, I
out.
assume she's just probably still just living there.
Maybe.
Because she.
No,
I
you
don't know. She's
grew up
working
there.
full time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I
it's
assume
close to a
she's
home
in,
as she has.
I assume she's in her mid-20s, probably.
Yeah, so she shouldn't need a foster mother unless it was just like you said, she just continued living there even after she became an adult.
I mean, she wanted to go to that university, but she couldn't get in for whatever the reason.
Yeah. Kind of doing that millennial stereotype, I guess. They don't move out.
I was
Or move back
thinking
in.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was thinking she's younger, like 19 or 20, though I guess that's kind of splitting hairs.
Yeah. I mean, technically she
So-
would still be a legal adult, right?
Yeah, right.
Ugh, oily bathtub. Gross.
It's like I don't even want to think about the hair clogged in the drain.
Okay, we can just start playing the Hitchcock music now.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I was
go full
thinking
psycho.
the same thing. Yes.
Ooh, yep.
Now this is the creepy part right here. Let me look down the drain. See if there's an eye in the drain.
You'll float too, Bill. You'll
Exactly.
float too.
Nice. Running.
Yes.
She still hasn't quite, she's new. She doesn't have her companion running form down yet. Still working on it.
This is not a very safely lit campus.
Right?
There need to be more street lamps here.
Yeah. This does not look safe.
Yeah, and this is now it looks very creepy, right? We see her.
I feel like Sam Eagle. This does not look safe.
Yeah, the dark under the eyes, the wet hair.
Now, at this point, watching this for the first time, am I the only one that was wondering at this point, well, is she like the part of the flood from the waters of Mars?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I did not think of that connection, but that's a good one.
So you want to bet they totally saved money on the effect?
Right.
It's like a cat in a warehouse somewhere.
Because it's kind of the same effect where you have water running down her arm constantly and down her face, and you kind of waited I was waiting for some connection there, but it obviously never happened.
Yeah.
So I suppose Heather got the better end of the alien watery creature bargain because she doesn't have the whole cracked lip motif going on.
This is true. Yeah. Yeah. So she's looks a little bit more fashionable, a little more acceptable in polite society.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen her pop up again in another story in Series 10 before the finale, because I wonder how she gets from this point with only being able to repeat other people's words to being able to fully articulate herself. And
Hi, Bill. Just kind of like jamming chairs under the doorknob for a reason?
Yeah. And then the water seeping in, and I love the doctor calculating oh, okay.
It's like, is Captain Adelaide Brooke around and not tell me? I am liquid metal.
So that's like a wood floor installer's nightmare right there. All that moisture on that wood.
Right. That's not going to be. Hopefully, he's waterproofed.
I need to get that restained.
I don't know, because it doesn't look laminated. It's like, so Bill, TARDIS, Bill.
Yeah.
Not even the Genghis Khan can get through these doors. And believe me, they've tried.
I really like how they delay her seeing it, because you get this pull back of the camera.
Like, hold on, I got to change into my doctor clothes.
Yes.
Turn the lights on and pose dramatically.
Oh.
Ta-da!
Wow.
Oh, you know what I realized?
Time and relative dimension in space.
This music right here is the Sad Man with a Box track, or at least some mix of it.
That's sad news, right? You're safe in here, and you always will be. I guess, though, it wasn't in the TARDIS where she was hurt,
right.
But
yeah. So technically, he's if there's any kind of legal contract going on, he's still covered because she wasn't in the TARDIS when this happened.
Yeah.
But it is a bit tragic that
close relationship with Moira, because could you imagine if something like that happened to Rose and he'd have to tell Jackie about it?
Right.
I love that she says it's a posh kitchen, except the doors. What happened? Did you run out of money? And just
it is science
I do like
beyond
the little
magic.
corridor. Yeah.
This is the gateway to everything that ever was, whatever can be.
I'd like That's probably the first thing I'd ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you might want to give it a minute. It's a bit whiffy, as Nardole pops out and says.
Does Bill even get to use the bathroom in this
I don't think she does.
I give it a moment. Oops.
Yeah.
There should be more than one
you would think,
facility in the TARDIS, right?
Yeah. So you're going to have like 50,000 control rooms, but you can only have like one bathroom? That doesn't seem right.
So look at the bright side. It's easier to get to than the wardrobe, apparently.
Right.
Yes.
Well, for necessity's sake, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You'd want it easier to find. Because when you got to go, you got to go.
I love how she plays that when they leave and she's like, "Hey, we're in a different place." Yeah.
And I'm sure this is, this whole bit with Bill not really connecting with it right away is Moffat trying to like, well, how many times can you do like a companion figuring out the TARDIS? So you have to
Yeah.
try to keep it fresh somehow.
Yeah. I love the knock through, and then yes, we get
It's
the
bigger on the
line.
inside than it is on the outside. Hey, we got there. Now it doesn't seem like Matt Lucas figured out Nardole just yet,
Yeah.
because he's a little bit more different than he is later in series 10,
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
personality
like it
wise.
better, far better here than in Husband's a River Song, though,
Well,
personally.
yeah, I agree with that.
I do feel
But he
like
does seem a
his
little more serious here than he is
yeah.
in the rest of series 10.
I do think his description of the TARDIS is a little bit like Steve Martin's. You can be a billionaire and millionaire, never pay taxes. One, get $1 million.
Yep.
Two, don't pay taxes. Like picture a big room and a little room, build it. So
It's a very dapper vest he's wearing, though. I'll give him that.
yes, he is.
Just thinking about Missy right now when they're playing piano.
Right.
Yes.
Or, she's probably reading the script for Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Ah, yes, Madam Satan.
And what a great scene, right? Because they haven't gotten away from the water yet, and they're all kind of staring at that. That is a great scene. The stairwell, and then from the doorway, and then rising up.
That's the T-1000, that is.
Mm-hmm.
I think every time Heather pops up, it really looks really impressive.
Oh, that's all. No big deal. It just wants to kill us. We're good.
Okay, just take this scene, someone, and edit it so that right when Heather screams, you get the beginning of Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song.
There you go. Oh. Yeah, that would be cool. So a little trivia. So Heather is actually the name of William Hartnell's wife.
Oh, nice.
So intentional nod? I'm thinking so.
Absolutely.
Was this in the same production block as Smile? Do we know?
Yeah, The Smile's the episode that takes place right after this.
I mean,
Smile's the very next episode after this one.
because I feel like they filmed Smile in Australia, so kind of fits here.
I do like that reveal. No, we didn't travel in
Sydney.
time. We're just in Australia. So.
Also, this is a really nice bathroom. I feel like this is a very underappreciated bit of set right here.
It's kind of got that Long John Silver's feel to it.
That weathered, the weathered wood.
Yeah.
But it also looks really clean.
It's like, can I ask you a personal question? No, you can't. No, I don't do personal questions.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong that he's not from space. He's from a planet like everybody else, just not this one.
Yeah.
So Charles, when you see it, Are You From Space? Do you think of Shatner in Star Trek 4? I just work in space.
That's a good one. Pointing out, of course, the rather interesting contradiction that the TARDIS says pull to enter, and you push the doors in.
Yes.
Ooh, the precipitation on the mirror. Ugh.
Someone needs to clean that off. Going, no.
You are not all properly social distancing.
Yes.
Obviously, this is pre-2020. See, now we know what created the coronavirus, everybody. It was Heather. Heather!
So it is kind of interesting, right? The doctor's like, okay, we saw how quick she got to Australia. That's what we see. And, we at this point, we don't know, because Nardole's like, what about the vault? What about the vault?
And ultimately, the whole vault thing just falls by the wayside because it's completely unrelated.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so she traveled all the way across the world, really, really fast. So let's give her a good test. Let's take it to like the other end of the universe. See how she does with that.
Glory.
Somewhere else. Don't touch anything. Fireflies. Alien fireflies.
I love that.
Lemon drops.
You could be silly sometimes. That is a great vest. You're right, Charles.
He's really rocking it. I'll give him that. Very dapper. Granted, not as dapper as Capaldi, but to be fair, his doctor's like half magician, half aging rock star. So
right.
So here's where Moffat gets to explain to the audience how the doctor figures things out.
Super intelligent space oil.
Just watching Peter Capaldi light up during this bit. He was a great doctor, wasn't he?
I think he was a very underrated doctor. I think a lot of people, were very unfair to him during his era, dismissed him.
Yeah,
and just because he was older and he wasn't the young cutesy doctor like David Tennant or Matt Smith, so they treated him a little unfairly, I think.
And I also think you had a little bit of they were, and this is so typical of fandom, they were kind of tired of Moffat, right? They wanted something new, and then when Chibnall come, they were like, "Oh, this is new and different. We don't like this."
Yeah, pretty much.
I was too harsh on Moffat. Bring him back.
Well, it's kind of the same way, like you said, when Russell T Davies left and Moffat came on, everybody's like, "I want Russell T Davies back." And then when Moffat left and Chris Chibnall came in, everybody's like, "I want Stephen Moffat back."
Yeah.
So when Chibnall eventually leaves, people say, "Well, I want Chibnall back."
Right.
Hey, baby.
No need to scream, Heather. Use your inside voice.
Yes.
No need to get all water spouty.
I don't think we got too many shots of his TARDIS in the vortex, did we?
No, that one was actually recycled from another episode. I can't remember which one, but
It kind of reminded me of the one with the planets in the sky.
The Stolen Earth?
Stolen Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
When they're zipping between the Shadow Proclamation and everywhere. Oh.
You get a sonic screwdriver. You get a sonic screwdriver. Everybody gets a sonic screwdriver.
Okay, is that Tom Baker's or is that Paul McGann's sonic screwdriver?
That's Tom Baker's and Peter Davison's.
Oh.
And also Charles Skaggs.
Get that printed on the box.
Yep.
Oh,
I like the subtitle says moans.
Oh, and this is where the little teaser comes from, which had the typo where they didn't remove the space, so Pearl Mackie was as Bill.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is a friend, your friend from the future. That was that little, what it was. It was kind of like an audition scene to see how the actress's chemistry would be with Peter Capaldi. And some of the footage that they liked so much with Pearl Mackie that they ended up using some of the footage in this episode. Oh,
Movellans.
Movellans! So, yeah, this is the first time we've seen the Movellans since their first and only appearance in Destiny of the Daleks back in 1979. So, Moffat going back to the well, doing a deep dive on that one, which I always kind of made fun of the Movellans because they had that kind of like Bo Derek from 10 braided hair.
Is this the last time that Peter Capaldi's doctor met the Daleks?
I
I
I,
don't remember anything after this.
I believe so. I think so.
Heather and the Dalek just having a long stare off. Exterminate, exterminate,
Stair fight.
exterminate, exterminate.
What's a Dalek?
Yeah.
Exterminate. Batteries are running down.
Hmm.
That's the problem with Daleks these days. You know, they have such a poor battery life.
And the worst thing is, when you buy the character options one, they don't come with batteries.
Nope.
They just run, when the ones you do buy run right out.
And there's always those little like weird watch batteries, and you know you gotta get like the weird, tiny little screwdriver to get the thing open to put the battery in, even if you find one of those.
Serene Dalek Fountain.
Heather is very focused and determined.
I mean, she's kind of like a pop-up,
Determinate.
Yeah.
one of those pop-up windows on a computer that still persists even though you say you do want to save the document.
Yeah.
So am I the only one that really wants to move that kind of cowlick from the middle of Heather's forehead and kind of brush it off to the side? It's kind
The
of
thing
distracting.
is, when she meets again, her hair's dry. He really speaks to Bill's intelligence that she was able
Yes.
to parse
To
this all
connect
out
that.
on her phone.
Yes. Wow.
Oh, you don't have to tell me about a crush.
Yeah.
You know, that big chick magnet, Nardole.
Hmm.
This scene makes me wish we had the Series 10 soundtrack so badly.
Murray Gold, get off your ass already. I want that soundtrack.
You don't have to make any more after that. Just
Exactly.
one more, please.
Just one more. Come on. You get the whole coronavirus thing going on. You should have plenty of time to be in the studio getting this done.
Yeah.
No excuses
Okay.
yet. We all want it.
Right when they touch in this bit, the music starts sounding a bit like the opening to Teenage Wasteland. Charles, Charles, you
You
have
mean
earphones in.
you mean Baba O'Reilly? Yeah.
Yep. Just
By the
you'll
Who?
be able to hear what I mean in a second. Sorry, Jesse. I
Oh
mean,
no. I love this
am I
montage.
wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it now. Yeah. Out here in the fields, I fight for my meals. She's kind of drippy.
Yes.
You can't watch any movies with her on leather furniture. It just ruins them.
I want to know how they got through this entire episode without saying the word moist.
Ooh, don't use that word.
A lot of people can't handle that word, moist. So I guess I'll just come along then, shall I? All right. Just walk it off.
Never notices the
Take
tears.
a lap, walk it off.
Yeah.
Fittingly enough, it's starting to rain outside.
Maybe it's Heather. I don't
And I
think they're
love that
mine.
line, right? Yeah, where
Yeah.
she says that I don't think they're mine.
So she's got like some heather on her. Ew. Kind of get that off.
Also, that's a really cute bow in her hair right now.
Right. Yeah, you notice they even put that on the action figure.
Oh, you're just gonna glow it all
Yes.
along, aren't
Yes,
you?
yes, I am. Scared is good.
I love that face.
Well, I mean, maybe
Don't see
in the
how. Yeah.
maybe in the finale.
Give it 11 episodes, maybe.
I want to know what kind of books the Doctor has in his study,
Good
his room.
question. I thought about that too. That'd be great. I also love the. Now, you wonder, and I realize because of the show you have to, but why would you have a picture of your granddaughter and not your daughter/son?
Maybe he doesn't have a picture.
Okay.
You know, my pet theory is that Susan was his only family left
Right.
when he fled. So,
But he would have.
assuming that he really did have kids.
Or, there's always that theory that maybe he's not proud of whatever his son, daughter, or whatever did.
Maybe they were in.
Maybe, we don't know what happened. So,
That could be it.
maybe they went evil. We don't know. So.
And what was it in this, the last episode, right, where they Capaldi's talking.
This is the
Chip knows.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt because this is so essentially Bill is throwing the Doctor's, what the Doctor did to Donna Noble, the mind wipe, back at him. Like imagine how you would feel if somebody did this to you. And that actually makes the Doctor have a little pause there.
It does.
And he's like, look, before I change my mind, get out of here.
Yeah.
Stop me before I mind wipe again.
I love that.
You shut up.
He talks to both.
You shut
photos.
up as well. Shut up. Shut it up. I love that scene right there.
Mm-hmm.
So good. So here we are. Let's go back to the highlights of everything you just watched.
Yes.
I think this is a story I'd show to people who jumped off board after Matt Smith left. It's such an upbeat one and just kind of shows what he becomes very well, I think.
In this scene, this is a very nice scene here as well.
Yeah.
Like where the Doctor has second thoughts. Like, okay, maybe I won't mind wipe you. Time and relative dimensions in space. Say, that's catchy.
He loves that trick of opening the door with snapping his finger once he got a hold of it.
Oh, and the lighting is so nice here with the purple.
Yeah.
And presumably what's supposed to be moonlight as well thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It is great lighting.
Oh, and then previews for coming soon 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yes. coming soon to back to 2017. The emoji
ooh.
bots.
I mean, we still use emojis today, so that one's kind of holding up thus
So far,
okay, not
so
good.
far.
So strange watching this trailer now.
Although you
that
notice we
have
never got the
kept-
poop emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up, and here comes the. Yep, hi,
The
John Sim.
John Sim is
Really
the master's
good
back.
that trailer.
Ah! And we, yeah. So run, Bill, run. Delete. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody have fun watching that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I am a little sad that the way they wrote Bill off, you can't see her again. And this series has done. The modern series is not done a good job of necessarily leaving companions to come back once Russell T Davies was good at it, right? We got those back and forth, but not. So I just would have liked to seen Bill again, and I'm glad she got a happy ending, relatively speaking. But just seeing her, I would have loved to seen her interact with Jodie and seen what happened with that.
Well, I'd express my really anger in Moffat for what he did to Bill, turning her into a Cyberman.
Yeah.
I was very frustrated with that because she was such a great character, deserved far better than just like, oh, one season and then I'm going to turn her into a Cyberman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But then, he kind of gets her out of being a Cyberman, but it's not quite, what I think we wanted for Bill.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it'll be interesting in years from now when we start getting more behind the scenes stuff to learn a bit about those conversations that were being had towards the end of Moffat's run as showrunner and as Chibnall was coming in, because I have a feeling that might have been more. I mean, I'm not a behind the scenes person, but Chibnall's whole idea was no continuity, a fresh jumping on point, and Bill would have been a carryover from this era.
Right. Well, I mean, to
Yeah.
be fair, Moffat had that from the Russell T Davies era.
Yeah.
He was able to start fresh, and I'm sure any showrunner coming in, I'm sure the one that replaces Chibnall eventually will want the same. They want to be able to just hit the ground running on their own terms. But yeah, it's kind of something that I think that the classic era I think did a little better, because even when you had changes of doctor, changes of showrunner, sometimes you had the companions carry over.
Yeah.
Like Nissen Tegan or Adric or Perry or like Sarah Jane, and so just I really missed that. That kind of I think it would have helped. It helps with the transition to the new Doctor when you have the companions kind of be your guide, going, okay, if I accept this guy as the Doctor, you should accept this guy as the Doctor or girl, whatever.
And at least have the option. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it every time, but I do think it would be interesting, or be able to go back and visit them. I don't. You mentioned about Chibnall leaving, right? Didn't we get new word this week?
Well, that was
Did
just
I not see-
that was a completely unsubstantiated rumor that you retweeted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So I want to take predictions now and bets now. Do you think after Chibnall leaves in like several years, the next guy will decide to blow up the TARDIS in the last 2 minutes of the Regeneration episode?
well, hey, we need a new interior TARDIS set, so we got to blow up the TARDIS again. Yeah, I know.
Well, you got to change. You got to change the the screensaver, right? You got to change that. Yeah.
How did they manage to do that in the classic era without blowing up the TARDIS every time?
It doesn't get blown up every time.
Well, to be fair, I guess in the classic era they didn't have the budget to blow it up every regeneration.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely.
It's kind of my dream. If they ever do another exploding TARDIS scene, I want it to be scored with shipping out to Boston by the Dropkick Murphys.
Nice.
That does
Yes.
sound nice. Yes.
Shipping off to Boston. Whoa.
Yes.
To find my wooden leg. Yeah. That would be fun. I would, yeah. I would go with MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This. I think that would be great in regeneration music. Yeah. No, just
if
kidding.
you want to, just thinking back, for like the 2 seconds Jodie was in the Capaldi TARDIS, all she did was press one button and it went kablooey.
Yeah. It's like this is the self-destruct button. Don't press this. Yeah, and then unfortunately you had a lot of that segment of fandom going, well, see, women drivers. So funny. Yeah, I know, right? It's just so dumb. So dumb. The attitude.
Yeah, very dumb.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, I just took that as the TARDIS saying, "Why'd you do that again?
Mhm.
You're sleeping on the couch."
Yeah. Bad TARDIS. Bad TARDIS.
Absolutely.
All right, so I hope everybody enjoyed our very first commentary here on Next Stop Everywhere. So what's everybody's ratings for this one? Anybody got a rating?
Hannah?
Hannah, you want to go first?
I give it 9 out of 10 cheap rugs.
Nice. Well, it's, to be fair, Bill's on a budget. I get that. She's a college student, or at least college age. She's not exactly raking in the money.
I'm just thinking about all those strings he had to pull to get her in there.
And Jesse, how about you?
Yeah, I like this one fine. I think it got off to a good start, and so I'm going to give it. And I don't remember what we originally. I don't have my original rating, so but based on this one, I'd give it 8 out of 10 chips.
Okay. And I did have my original rating because, hey, I take notes. And so I went back to my original. I know, mind blown. So I went back to my original rating, which was 8.5 out of 10 creepy puddles.
Nice.
So it was either that or stars in the eye. If somebody had taken puddles, I was gonna. But yeah, I like this one. I mean, it does what, as advertised on the box, it kind of reboots a little bit. It's a good jumping on point for people wanting to get into Doctor Who, I think. I mean, I think there's better ones like, the 11th Hour, but or Rose. But as far as like jumping on points go, I think this is a solid one.
Yeah.
Great introduction to Bill. I love Bill's introduction here. Pearl Mackie is instantly likable. At least I loved her from the start. And like all of you, I wish she had gotten a second season. It would have been a lot of fun to see her with Jodie, especially. I think those two would have hit it off pretty well.
I agree.
I mean, they have like similar dress ends with the rainbows and all.
That's true. They kind of have that motif going, don't they? You're absolutely right. So maybe it's something, hey, that the Doctor subconsciously thought about while regenerating.
Could be. I like that.
Maybe
I like that theory.
Maybe some guilt over what happened to Bill. So the rainbows are a way to kind of honor Bill, perhaps.
I like it. I like it a lot.
That's just me coming up with an idea there. So
I think it's a good idea.
All right. So we do have some feedback before we sign off. So we did get some feedback on the pilot revisited from David K. Proctor, who's writing in. Says, hi, Charles, Jesse, and Hannah. So Hannah getting the shout out here. David writes in, says, this is a pretty good start as seasons with the new companions go. The Doctor needed a fresh start after Clara. This episode is chock full of new and old. On the Doctor's desk are pictures of River Song and Susan and a collection of sonic screwdrivers, which we pointed out. And we did see River in the season later and was hoping for Susan. Yeah, a lot of people, I think even Peter Capaldi was disappointed we didn't get the 12th Doctor and Susan.
I mean,
I agree. Yes.
Carol Ann Ford is still with us.
Right?
Why can't we do it?
Why? It should not be this hard, right? She does finish audios.
We also just had like the big lore dump for a finale. Come on.
Yep. And she had a great encounter with the Eighth Doctor, Paul McGann, in Big Finish Audios. I'm just saying. It shouldn't be that hard. Bill is a good patch for Capaldi, David continues. They have a wonderful, he says, a CK back and forth. Or that's probably a typo you tried to say they have a wonderful back and forth. That's what it probably is. How does that explain why are you attending my lectures? It doesn't. I was hoping something would develop. The Doctor has been in another exile like John Pertwee, apparently, for as long as 70 years, but discovers something in Bill that leads him astray. Perhaps reawakening the feelings that he has back before we met him in an earthly child when he stole the TARDIS. Perhaps I'm over-romanticizing it. When Bill goes to the Doctor's office for the first lecture, the set of the hallway as she knocks on the door was very similar to the entrance of Professor Chronitus's office and quarters in Shada. But perhaps that episode has been on my mind the last couple of days. I do love me some Douglas Adams, as you should, David, because Douglas Adams is awesome. And I get the feeling we're going to talk more about that, but I'm going to leave that hanging for just now. He adds two great quotes that I'm sure you all will mention. Quote, why did you run like that? Like what? Like a penguin with his ass on fire. Ergonomics. And then he says, that's my face, yeah? You seem a bit flexible on the subject. Oh, you have no idea. I also love the quote about the bacon sandwich. Also, the Doctor doesn't get preachy, but puts out the perspective to remind people of the reality of existence. Even if you are a vegetarian, there is death involved in our life. Sorry, this is a paraphrase of something Spock once said, but fits perfectly with the Doctor's statement.
It does.
To paraphrase another incarnation of the Doctor, words are important. The pilot is bound by word, bound by a promise. How many of us hold words to so literally true? When Bill asks to use the bathroom, the Doctor directs her past the macaroon dispenser. So Jodie wasn't the first Doctor to have cookies on demand, but the first that we noticed to have them in the control room. This was the 10th season, so we were doing an anniversary celebration akin to the 3 Doctors, the 5 Doctors, or similar. I feel like this season is the celebration. We get new monsters, new planets, new companion, the Master, but in a very new way, 2 Masters, in fact. Cybermen, Daleks, the first Doctor, and an overarching story from first to last. Even the title of the episode is suggestive of a beginning. I'm usually in the minority when I say that Matt Smith wasn't my favorite, but I do dig Capaldi. I'm also looking forward to the Watch Along Together episode, but I've never actually been a part of one, so I hope I'm able to get it right. Be well, all of you wonderful Whovians. Thank you, David K. Proctor. So
Nice.
David was feeling a
Thank
bit
you.
chatty there today.
He was.
But
very excited.
It's very
Yeah.
wonderful that you shared an email because unfortunately you were only one this week, but that's okay. And if you want to be like David, please do write to us at nextstopeverywheresmg@gmail.com. That's nextstopeverywheresmg for Southgate Media Group at gmail.com. And otherwise, you can reach out to us on Twitter at nextstopsmg on Twitter, or Facebook, Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who Podcast, or Instagram at Next Stop Everywhere Podcast. And Hannah, where can they reach you on the interwebs?
Well, Charles, since you asked, I can be found on Facebook at Hannah Skorapa, on Twitter at HT Skorapa, that is HTEASKORAPA, and on Instagram at My Lady of Sass.
Nice. And please do, because Hannah always posts some great Doctor Who memes and thoughts, and especially as she's watching episodes, and is always definitely worth a follow. So highly recommended by yours truly. And Jesse, how about you? How can they reach you?
Well, you can find me on the internet on Twitter at Jesse Jackson DFW. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Jesse Jackson. I'm not on those very often, but I try. You can hear Charles and I talk about Stargirl. We're wrapping up that series. There's only a couple episodes left, but you can hear us on the Fandom Zone where we are talking that wonderful series. And then you can always hear me talk music on Set Listing Bruce, the Bruce Springsteen podcast. How about you, Charles?
Well, of course, you can reach me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on the Instagrams, or my blog of geeky things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot. We're talking about all the stuff we talk about here on Next Stop Everywhere. Doctor Who, Torchwood, Sarah Jane Adventures, all kinds of comic book news, comic book TV news, news of my other podcasts for Southgate Media, including the aforementioned, the Fandom Zone podcast, where, like Jesse said, all we have now is the 2-part season 1 finale of Stargirl coming up, and as we're wrapping that show up, not sure what we're going to talk about next, so if you got any suggestions, drop them our way. And also Titan Talk, the Titans podcast, that I do with DJ Nick, whom you've heard here on Next Stop Everywhere, where we're currently going through Doom Patrol Season 2, which is a lot of fun. And also Ghost with the Twin Peaks podcast I do with Zan Sprouse, whom you've also heard here on Next Stop Everywhere, where we talk all things Twin Peaks, David Lynch, and tomorrow we're going to be recording our big deep dive review of the Criterion Collection Blu-ray of David Lynch's 2001 film Mulholland Drive. So that should be a lot of fun as we go into the special features. And so if you're a film buff, hopefully you'll enjoy this. So other than that, Hannah, thank you so much. I hope you had fun on our first commentary episode. Hope we did okay.
Thank you again for having me.
You did a great job, by the way.
It was great to have you. It always is. We love when you join us, and anytime, please know the TARDIS door is always open.
Exactly. You're welcome back anytime. Jesse, how about you? I hope your first commentary experience was good.
This was a lot of fun, and we should do this more often.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice change of pace.
Well, I do have another one on the schedule, so I should give everyone, just to kind of remind everybody who aren't aware of it yet. I've managed, Jesse and I kind of put together our schedule for the rest of the year, so that filling out the end of till 2020. And so I posted that on our Facebook page, Next Stop Everywhere. So if you want to check that out, see what episodes are coming up. Some of the episodes don't have special guest companions yet. So if certain people like a certain Hannah Skorapa want to join us, I would recommend checking out the list and seeing if there's something that appeals and letting me know so I can so we can schedule you, because that would be all kinds of coolness, especially if you haven't joined us here before. Next Stop Everywhere. A lot of people, like they come on, they're not sure. I'm sure, like Hannah, you were probably not sure that first time you were on, but you keep coming back, so I'm hoping that we did it right somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say that the water is fine. Jump in, join us. I promise you'll have a good time. And we've got a couple of first timers that have already volunteered, Charles.
Yes.
And they're
like a certain David K. Proctor, I might add.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom Zoller is joining us.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm very excited about that. Always love our regulars, but it is going to be fun to get a few new people as well for a nice blend. Speaking of,
yes,
what are we going to be talking about next week, Charles?
Well, interestingly enough, already we're off schedule a little bit because we were going to be talking The Gunfighters with John Takis.
Yes.
But unfortunately, John's boss told him he had to work next Wednesday.
Okay.
So we had to kind of juggle the schedule around. So I'm swapping The Gunfighters for The Visitation. So the Peter Davison era story that we were originally going to talk about in episode 197, we're going to go ahead and talk the visitation instead for episode 195. So so if you we're already kind of off track a little bit, but it's okay. Things happen, and John was very polite, gave me a lot of advance notice, as much as he could. So I was more than happy to accommodate him. And he'll obviously do his episode at the end of the month. So just have to wait a couple more for John. But as always, he's worth it. So we're
Absolutely.
always glad to have him back. And so everybody, thank you so much for listening. Hope everybody enjoyed our first commentary episodes. Like I said, there will be more, especially because we know we've already talked all the Capaldi episodes, and we want to keep talking Capaldi. So what better way to do it than through commentary? We just proved that. And Hannah, thank you again. Jesse, thank you as always. It was always great to talk to you. And everybody, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time right here for episode 195, The Visitation. It's going to be good as we go back to the Great Fire of London back in 1666. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you next time right here on Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.